Before we begin this video, I want you guys to go into the comments and tell me your Season 3 story so far. I want to know where you finished after placements. I want to know what your wins and losses were for placements and your draws. Then I want to know, and this is the crucial bit, how many games you've played and if you've experienced any kind of crazy rank drops or crazy rank games. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Stylosa and this is Unit Lost, and I'm going to talk about my Season 3 experience so far. Now, the season is still new, but it is very interesting what's actually going on. And I think I'm in an absolutely fantastic position right now because the games I'm having are just, like, really good, and it is absolutely awesome. So let me just take you back to my placement games, of which there is a VOD of all of the placement games available on the YouTube channel, which is like 3.5 hours long. It was a pretty long session. We did all the placement games together. There's a couple of quick play games thrown in there as we were waiting for other people to come back from AFK and stuff. But basically what happened in that is I won 5 games. I had 4 defeats and 1 draw. Now, that resulted in me getting placed at 3.4k, which I thought is a very, well, I still think it was a very fair reflection of what I did last season. It didn't put me at the high end of what I achieved, which was 3.757, I believe. It put me sort of in the mid-range of where I ended the season, which was 3.34, and kind of like 3. I guess, well, it's not really in the middle, but I think it's based off the fact that I'd lost pretty much half of my placement games, so it kind of put me like in the middle ground, so it gave me 3.4, which is better than where I ended last season, only by like 60 or 70 points or so, but it was still a better position. Now, what that meant was I was pretty happy, right? I thought, okay, this is cool, so I know I can get into Masters. I've always seen myself as like a Master level player, so I can do that, that's fine, and let's just see where this goes. So, going to the first game with 2 other people, so I'm playing in a triple stack, and it was really bad. Like, really bad. There was players on the team who were just toxic. I don't know whether it was because it was like, oh god, there's Stylosa, let's just be an idiot. Because I was kind of getting that vibe, and it was really bad. So that game was a total disaster. The next game, there was a Widowmaker and a Hanzo. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh god, Sty, you're going to trash Widowmakers and Hanzo players. No, I'm not, because they can both work. It just, you know, if you use them correctly, any character can work. But these guys were just being really toxic. The Widow was screaming for heals all the time, like, Anna, heal me. You're so bad, Anna. What are you doing? And it's like, what? The Widow was just getting killed, and it was ridiculous. It was like, what the hell? Those players didn't want to win, so then we lose again. Then we had another game, which was a pretty fair game, to be honest. It was pretty close defeat. What can you do about it? After those 3 games, I lost 200 SR, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, I'm now lower than I was at the end of Season 3 after I decayed and then brought that back, and I was like, this is pretty interesting, like, what is going on here? Because 2 of those games, and I think a lot of you guys are going to agree with this in the comments, were just nothing to do with me. Like, even if I was the greatest player ever, I couldn't have done anything in those games, right? They felt like, oh shit, I've been put with players who really shouldn't be at this rank. It felt as if I've got players with me who, instead of being placed too low, were placed too high. And this happened in Season 2, and that was horrifically bad. And I was getting like flashbacks to this, like, oh my god, this is going to be such a struggle to get out of this. You could almost call it like an elo hell at that kind of point, where you might have players that shouldn't be where they are, and it gets crazy. And these players that just get instantly toxic, which I'll never understand why people do that. It's just, it's crazy to me that people even bother doing that. In a team game as well, it's like, you've got to work together. Be nice to each other. Don't just go crazy. I mean, what the hell? Even if somebody does make a mistake, it's cool. Just be like, oh, okay, cool. And then just work through it. It's all good. It's all gravy, man. It's fine. Anyway, I'm like, oh dear, this is pretty bad. So the next day, I come back to competitive and I play a couple of games, and I managed to get up to, I sort of recovered back to where I began, right? So I'm like at like 3.4-ish, something like, I think it was like 3.398 or something I got back to. And I was like, all right, those games were pretty good. There wasn't really anything to note in those games. It wasn't like a total stomp. They were decent games. They didn't feel like it was hard, if that sounds a bit big-headed of me to say, but they didn't. They really didn't feel like they were that hard, and we were sort of playing quite well. Like, I was pretty much consistently getting all of the gold medals with Soldier, which I know I'm pretty good with Soldier, and it's great that he's been buffed to me because it means I can play him. But I've also been playing Diva as well, which I know she's been buffed as well, but she's quite effective as well. And a little bit of Reinhardt's been thrown in there, and some Lucio. Anyway, those games went okay. Then comes the batch of games that I played. Well, I played these games on Friday, so... No, sorry, Saturday. I'm off my head. What time is it now? When am I recording this audio? I'm trying to record it right. It's fresh in my mind. It is 22:57 on Saturday evening. So it was Saturday, right? Early morning, 12 a.m. I started playing some duo queue. And I think out of all of the games I played all day, I played duo and triple queue. There was no solo queue in this. I lost 2 games and won something like 18 games, like on the trot. like a massive load of wins, and these games were absolutely phenomenal. Like, there was a couple of instances where there were bad players in these games, not skill-wise, not bad like, oh, they're terrible players, but they're just as like human beings, they were quite bad. Like, they were very toxic, and I don't understand why. But credit to the team I was playing with at the time, everybody just ignored them, and that's what you've got to do. It is the only way you can deal with these players. If you get somebody who is you know, a Widowmaker who just wants to play Widow, that's cool. But if they're not willing to change when it's clearly not working, then that's not great. You know, they should maybe change to something else and things might work out. But if they don't want to change, do not force them to change. If you ask somebody and say, hey, do you mind changing your character? And they're like, no. Just be like, okay, cool. And in fact, the best thing to do is encourage them. If they do something great, go, oh, nice shot. Because for some reason, that makes them better people. And it's cool. You've got to be the bigger person in that situation. Don't go down to their level and start throwing abuse at them. So as I said, that happened in like 2 of those games, maybe. The defeat that we suffered was an extremely close defeat. So it was a pretty good game. But all of those games felt really good. They didn't feel bad. It felt like the game had suddenly, like, whether this is luck or whatever, we were putting us against players who were just as good as us, and we had players on our team who were just as good as us and were willing to play as a team. And some of the stuff, like, I've got a big batch of recordings. Some of the plays are absolutely next level. It is crazy. And what has happened after all of this is I've ended at like 3,870 or something. So I'm very close to Grandmaster, which would be 4K, which that is like my ultimate goal for the season if I can do it. But like I said, if you've watched all of my videos, I'm not going to try hard in the sense I'm going to sty hard. Hashtag sty hard. I'm going to try to win, obviously, but I'm not going to just, if I lose, it's cool. It's like, whatever, I've lost, it's great. I'm not going to take it to heart like I did before. I was a bit like, damn, I knew if I'd done something there, you know, this would have happened. I mean, there was a thing, we actually won this game, but there was a point on Volskaya when I was playing in my recent games, and I heard McCree High Noon go off, and I knew where he was, and they were pushing in onto the final point, and I'm playing Soldier, and I'm on the bridge at the back, and my ultimate's available, and I'm waiting for their sound barrier to go to just hose them down. But I forgot McCree was high nooning, but I knew he was high nooning, and I walked out, and he killed me straight away, and I was like, oh, no, and I was shouting down the mic, like, oh, God, no, what have I done? Because I knew that it was me that caused that point to get taken. But luckily, I managed to pull it together in the future, and in the next round, we managed to take it, so that was okay. But, yeah, it was things like that which I've got out of my system, and I feel already like a massively better player, like a way better player. When I look back at what I did in Season 2, I played a lot of tanks, right? Played a lot of Reinhardt, Zarya, and Lucio. I don't think there's any recent footage of me playing Lucio on the channel, but my Lucio is pretty good now. Like, I'm very good at wall riding and like getting up into people's faces and smashing them. It's quite funny. So I played a bit of Lucio, right? But what I was doing is I was being dynamic. I was being flexible. I wanted to play Soldier, and if I played Soldier, that was cool, right? But there'd be some situations where we'd lock into the team, like we'd pick our characters, I'd join the team chat, and I'd be like, hey guys, and the first thing I'd say is, what characters would you like to play? I'm not going into the game going, all right guys, or not even saying anything, because then people on my team would go, oh, could I play Soldier? And I'd be like, sure, play Soldier. Because in my mind, right, even though, right, maybe I'm a better soldier than this guy, it doesn't matter. That guy wants to play Soldier. I know that I can play a Reinhardt, I could play a Zarya, I could play a Lucio, and as I found out, I can play a D.Va, because some of my statistics for D.Va so far are absolutely ridiculous. It's like, I always used to be okay with D.Va, and then obviously she got nerfed, but she was really OP in the closed beta. She did tons of damage, but then she got nerfed and I didn't really play her. But now, I'm really enjoying playing D.Va. I think she fits my... You know what? I think D.Va fits the playstyle of a crap Genji, because I'm really bad at Genji, but I'll get into a position and I'm like, yes, I know I need to kill this Ana, but then I die. Or, yes, I know I need to kill this Zen, but then he kills me. And I'm like, what am I doing? But with D.Va, I get into them and kill them. It's like, yes, and then I escape. It's beautiful. So I've been very flexible, and that's been like a running trend throughout these games. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Sty, Jesus Christ, you're saying this. You're playing it at whatever level. I'm not at that level. People get toxic and they get this and they get that. That's why I want you to leave your comments below, like almost just story blows what's happened. Don't write massive stories. Just like give me a quick sort of paragraph as to what's happened, and because I want to read through this, because I might use some of this in future videos just to go over the experience you guys are having. But I wanted to put down my experience as to, you know, what happened for me. So if we go and look at the games that I had today, as I said, I was very flexible. If somebody needed a character, I'd let them take that character. There were times though where we literally won the game based off game knowledge, because there became a point, and I'm going to say this point is like 3.7 onwards, where the players are good, right? Now it just isn't the case at lower ranks, but at that rank and above, these people know how to aim, they know how to play the characters they pick, they know exactly what they need to do. And we were on Gibraltar, and they had a Genji who was a particularly good Genji, and I was playing Diva. We go into the fight, and it's great. The Genji kills our back line, right? We die. Okay, well, I think I managed to survive because I was Diva. We go back for another push. The Genji kills our backline again. And it was like, oh, God, we've clearly got a problem. So we're like, we need to sort this out. And I'm like, you know what? I'll swap to Winston. I swapped to Winston. Suddenly, we steamroll the team because the Genji's no longer effective. The enemy team didn't change the Genji, right? On the next round, they did change the Genji, so then that meant I could go back to Diva, which counted their pick of not having a Genji. You see what I mean? And it's like, that's where it goes. And it's not just me making these decisions. The team would say, oh, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that. Then you've got things like, what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't just come down to, I guess a very relevant example I can give is when I played Reinhardt at a lower diamond level. And it must be worse as you go down. You can be in the right position as Reinhardt. You can be in the most fantastic position you can imagine. The problem is, though, your team won't be with your barrier, or they won't be in the right position. So you might have a McCree or a soldier, and they stand in front of the barrier and die. And you're like, well, that's great, but they're dead. Now, you don't have any DPS, and so you take barrier damage, and then maybe you die. That doesn't happen at the higher levels because they know how to play. Like, they will be in the right position, they'll be doing the right thing, and it's fantastic to watch it play out. But still, the fact remains, I've had the most fun on Soldier. My Soldier play has been really, really good. Like, I think there's some critiques I can make to it. Like, I think sometimes I get a little bit tunnel vision on the target I'm firing at instead of like swapping to more critical targets. I think my ult use has been fairly good, and it's good to do this kind of thing, to review what you've done. Like, it's great for me because I can talk in detail about it to you guys, and then I can watch this video back and I can say, yeah, what I'm saying makes sense there. What I did made sense. My experience so far in Season 3 has been one of very interesting placement games, but the reason they were interesting is because we played in a 6-man stack. Now, before you start, oh God, Sty, 6-man stack, what the hell? It was a 6-man stack that was just unplanned. We just got together literally as I started my stream. We had like Sips from the Yogscast, who it's like not that great, right? And other players who maybe were not at our kind of level, but it didn't matter. We just played as a team and we had fun, and that was great. And the games were really interesting. They were really fun, and that's all that matters really at the end of the day. Then it gave me my rank of 3.4, which then allowed me to lose a load of rank. And that was the point where I was like, I tweeted out, didn't I? And I said, maybe a lot of people have been calibrated where they shouldn't have been. But it seems that I've got out of that now. And now I am firmly entrenched in Masters. And that's great for me because it means that I'm in a position where I don't think, on my main account anyway, my alt account, I've not played yet this season, so we'll see what happens with that. But on my main account, it's in a position where I can play with people that 99% of the time do actually want to play and play to win and will be flexible. The problem is, this doesn't relate to a lot of you guys. This is why I want your stories in the comments below. I want to read them. I want to see what is going on. Because this sounds ludicrous, right? But I can't go and play at like a gold level. Because how would I get there? Like, I'd have to lose intentionally. And I don't want to do that. Because that will negatively impact the rank of the players that I play with, losing intentionally. And I just don't want to do that. That's not right. I really, really don't want to do that. In fact, something that might help me is if you could send me footage of you playing your game. So if you have a YouTube channel and you've got any kind of footage of yourself playing, do send me that over Twitter. Don't leave it in the YouTube comments because you can't leave URLs. But send me a link over Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming. I'd really like to check that out because I really want to see what's going on. Because I think when I look back at all of the guide stuff I've been producing, like the tip videos that I talk about, things that you should be doing, things that you shouldn't be doing, there seems to be crazy fundamental mistakes a lot of people make. And I honestly believe that if you just get given a few bits of advice here and there, you will become a much better player. I see no reason why not. You know, everybody should be able to get into Diamond, because I honestly think the difference between bronze, silver and gold is the fact that people in gold have got better aim. But I think the difference between gold, platinum and diamond is the players know how to play the game a little bit better. So they've got a bit more experience. They know about team compositions. They know about defensive locations. Like when I did my placement games on my Smurf in Season 2, the first placement game, the enemy team defended right outside the spawn on Route 66. And I'm like, that's not ideal because you're just going to die. And even if you kill us, we're going to respawn really quick. So that's like a fundamental misunderstanding of the game. So if I can get that kind of information together, I can make more videos which will help more people. Because I'm not the greatest player in the world. Like, I'm not. If I was, I'd be like 4.5k Grandmasters playing for a bloody pro team. I'm not. But I like to think that I'm okay at the game, and I want to help everybody out play the game, because we all want to have fun playing this game. The game's brilliant. Like, it's absolutely ridiculously brilliant, and we've got to get together as a community and have fun. Just remember, try not to take it too personally if you do lose rank. Don't take it personally when you get your placement rank as well, because it kind of doesn't matter. Just go in and play games. It's cool. Forget about your rank. If you forget about it, literally, this is the best bit of advice I can give you right now. Forget about your rank. Don't go into the game thinking, yes, this is my rank, and oh god, I can't possibly lose. Just forget about it and have fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Stylosa, and this is Unit Lost. You can follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming. Do send me your videos over Twitter as well of your gameplay, especially if you're lower, like sort of lower platinum, lower, well, any kind of gameplay. Even if you're ultra high level, send me your stuff. It's all cool. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Toodaloo.